Yo, 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 what's poppin'? So, the HYDRA new game mistake. And the caffeine. This morning I've been doing quite a bit of housekeeping, sometimes related to the HYDRA mod and its updates, and sometimes related to other shit. As you can see here, I've been messing around with GPTP stuff, some iScript stuff, all sorts of stuff. And yeah. Things are looking pretty good. It looks like I have the understanding now to set up my own overlay graphics or whatever, my overlay coordinates, essentially. So, barring some updates to how that system is in play, we should be pretty good. The main issue that I'm seeing here is that it's a lot of copying and pasting. So I'm looking at it, for example, a lot of this stuff is the same. The only thing that's different is the rotation. And whether or not it is an attack pointer or a special pointer. In the case of, I mean, like what type of pointer it is, basically. So I'm thinking we could probably make some sort of... Oh, this is actually supposed to be Phobos. Laser spawn positions. I think we could probably design our own function for this behavior. So it would be something like... I mean, it would just be a void, I think, right? Because it's just a function that does stuff. So we would do something like void set missile source, or yeah, source pause. And we would say, now what we need here is we need like the rotation quantity. So let's see. Yeah, I would say rotation quantity, overlay style, and most boronic way possible. That doesn't surprise me. And I'm not sure if there's anything else. Like, I feel like that was pretty much the only thing here. So yeah, I would say it could be like S32. Oh, S32 rotate count, and then I don't know exactly how I would script out the attack pointer, but I guess it could be like an S8 overlay type. And then we would say oh, we'll need the value IDs as well. So we'll need like what kind of thing is one of these value IDs anyway? Right. But what would I actually call it? Like just an S8 or something? I'm not sure. Oh, I guess it's in SCBW get generic value here. I could. U32, okay. So we would say U32 value ID. What's up, Imjoraya? Good luck with that name. Some units have initial weapon offset, so we need to count offset based on unit's position. Where do you see that, though? Oh, you're talking about in the actual function itself. Yeah, so we would say, like... The thing is, I don't know how to cast, like, a... Like, I can't do value ID, right? I don't think that would be possible. Hold on. I'll move this down here to some other function, so it's not giving me so many errors all the time. Oh, I guess we're going to need a unit as well. Oh, right, yeah, we would just say value ID. Okay. So we'll need to bring unit from the function as well. Okay. Looking skinny. What's up, dude? That's me. I'm trying my best over here. Thanks for noticing. Okay, so we'll say... The overlay attack pointer will probably be the same deal, right? So instead of SA8, I guess we can do U32, because presumably that's... Yeah. So here we can say overlay type. Unit sprite main graphic ID. Okay, that's fine. Main graphic direction. And then you said over here we need to change... X plus offset X, which is over here. For some reason, it's not... I'm wondering if the value of X was defined somewhere else or something. Well, we have auto X, but then we have X, which is a local variable. So that must... I don't actually know what this is, though. This is defined earlier. S32X dot... Oh, yeah, X and Y. So there's like a creation... Am I going to have to pass this as well? It seems a little excessive. Right, so I should be able to recalculate that in this function. I should be able to say, like... Right, but what I'm saying is I can't use X and Y unless I bring in S32XY from the... Like, X and Y are variables, which is really stupid because, of course, they're named X and Y instead of actually being usable variable names. But they're in the function fire weapon hook. So do I have to pass that, or can I recalculate it? I guess it would be better to pass it in terms of, like, performance. Okay, I can just do that. Okay. All right. And so you said change it to unit get X plus offset. Well, you said offset Y, but I assume it's offset X. Okay. But I still feel like there's a lot of things here that it would be nice to not need. But obviously we still need them. Also, this function should probably be called, like, set missile source pause. And then it should probably also have, like... Yeah, yeah. But okay. So now we should be, in theory, we should be able to. I'll comment this out so that I don't make a horrible mistake. We should be able to, in theory, write. What is this function anyway? Set missile source pause, and then it's unit weapon ID. So I guess it should be like value ID Empyrean missile pause. Rotate count is 4. And then that. So in theory, I should be able to just have that now. And obviously, if this works still, I will delete the commented code so that we don't have just zombie code up the ass. And so here we'll say unit weapon ID, value ID, Phobos, missile pause 6, and Phobos laser pause 4. Oh yeah, and then this has to be special. What's going on, Alexander? We're refactoring some code, dude. Oh, right. I actually have to define this function somewhere. Should I define it in weapon fire or weapon fire.h? I forget what you have to do if you're defining a new function that is not already in the game. Yeah, that door thing is really insane. I have no idea why it's like that. So should I put this in API or something? Instead of in weapon fire? I feel like it's better to have it in weapon fire, but I don't really like the idea of putting it in API, but if you say so. I have a feeling some shit in here is going to break. Like, I'm going to have to then add in the functions that this function calls into here. It's just going to be a mess. But even here, like, where do I define the function? Like, I forget if it's defining it when you write it or defining it when you write a definition for it, and that finds the, like, one is declare and the other is define, and I don't remember which is which. But basically, I've got one of them where I've actually written the function, but now I have got to create some sort of line somewhere, maybe in API's header, and say, like, here's what this function does or whatever. Maybe it's in here. So we'll say void set. What's it called? I just wrote it and I've already forgotten it. SMH. Source pause. So presumably if I do this, right? And then I try to build here, it won't kill me? It sounds like they're not being assigned correctly. Who knows what could be the cause of that? Man, it's going to be so nice when we don't have to worry about any of that in our new engine, dude. That's going to be epic. Of course, putting it in API creates this insane lag time with the function. Okay, well, I guess I still didn't declare it correctly because it's still telling me that I've got errors. Even though I've declared it in API and API is included in this file. They can find each other in API and API CPP, so. Listen, if you want to put doors in the map, you can. That's the beauty of it being our fucking engine. But yeah, I think there will be some giant gates and stuff that we'll use. Oh. Wow, that's goofy. I never would have guessed. You can tell I'm out of the loop on C++ and have been for a little bit. That's funny. Whereas I guess if I had declared it in weapon fire, it wouldn't have required that prefix. All right. What do we got here then? It's not rotating correctly, but it is using. It's using the first one, index 0. But it is not actually incrementing for some reason. Oh, maybe rotate count is supposed to... No, that doesn't make any sense. But maybe something's not being... Oh. Yeah, it's right here. It's the set generic value is not correct. It's still using the old one, so this should be value ID. That's why. Goobers. Well, it's still being buggy, but... And obviously the energy is still broken. It's not incrementing anymore, and it hasn't been since I've used this custom source position, but it does look like it's working. I guess I should test the Empyrean. Yeah, it seems to be working as well. Cool. So yeah, I don't know why this somehow broke your Phobos energy, but somehow it did. You mean in total or since the last update? From 2 weeks ago? Because in total, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. In total, it's 17. But since, well, the Apostle is not implemented yet at all, but since the last patch, we've got the Madcap, the Cyclops, the Gorgon, the Pegasus, the Salamander, Phobos, Penumbra, so that's 7. Yeah, in total, it's new units, 17. Since the last patch, 7. And it would be 8 if we could get the Apostle working, but I kind of doubt we will in that time. We still have to get all of these other passives implemented. And that's just units. That's not talking about buildings. I hope we can fix the captaincy, the quarry. Hope we can fix that soon. I forget what I actually changed. Isn't there a treasury prog somewhere? I guess I'll have to look in the entire solution. Oh, is it actually in game hooks? This whole time? I'm not sure where the range is defined. I know I changed it recently. And I'm assuming it's... Oh, okay. 10 times 32. So. Okay. Save. Minimize. Oh yeah, nanite field got implemented earlier as well. I should take a look at that. Nah, that's pretty epic. Cool. Seems to work just fine. Nice. Dude, that'll be a reason to get shamans. Oh, and that reminds me, I actually had an idea for revising the madrigal so that it will also be useful, since it currently requires a bit too much micromanagement to be useful at all. I guess I should start working on more passive icon button sets and stuff. Oh no, I actually made a treasury button set, right? It's right here. I don't have like a passive icon on it or anything. but I can't actually define it because the treasury is missing entirely from the unit list. Like, I forget what the treasury's unit ID actually is, but it's just gone. Like, Firecraft ate it or something. And it's not possible for me to manually type in a used by entry over here in the button sets entry, so I can't bypass it. So I need to find some way to set the command card in GPTP manually for that unit ID, but I don't know if there's a functionality to do that anywhere. What's up, DF? Oh yeah, you want to see your fucking lasers? Check out your lasers, dude. I might actually move the overlay back a little bit. But there you go, dude. We obviously need some sort of impact graphic for it. I don't know what a good one would be, though. Maybe one of the... Actually, I think I do know what a good one might be. And it's like the... If I had to guess, it would basically be something like... one of those red blast shock effects, which you might have already done. Let me take a look. Oh, I actually have some over here. Blast shock O-fire. Not exactly. That's going to be used for something else. I just realized that I've had a section for those. I should probably move those over here. Okay. Let's take a look at blast shock. Well, it's not really red as much as it is like pink or something. So I don't know if it's easy to palette swap them to red from one of the ones that you've already done. That would be pretty cool, I think. Oh, we do have a muzzle flash shock, which might be better because it's a little bit less noisy, I think. Let me just open to confirm. If I go to fin effects, flash shock. Yeah, this one is better, so. I don't know, man. I would just leave that like you've spent a lot of time on this particular issue. I would say take the rest of the day, maybe a couple days break away from the doors entirely, like leave them all disabled or something. The other thing I would suggest is just using them as sprites instead of using them as units and making it so that they can't be attacked, because that might have something to do with it, because they usually are units in some way, I think. But if you try placing them as sprites, maybe that will change. So he's having a psychotic door psychosis. So some doors are working fine with set doodad state. Other doors are just not responding at all. And they're either remaining closed forever or open forever. Or something like that. Hold on, let me take a look. Certain doors in the map don't respond to enable disable doodad state orders, and there seems to be no logical pattern. He's tried disabling different patches and hooks, no change. And he wanted to know if I had ever heard of that issue. I'd never heard of that issue at all. So, like, it's not like some of them are near Like all of the ones that are broken, I think it even randomizes or something. Like it's different ones each time. It's done. I assume he's doing it through triggers. I'm not sure though. He might be running the set doodad state function directly. I guess that would make more sense to do it through plugin as opposed to triggers. But I'm not sure. He tried to forcibly close them all with GPTP, but the ones that are still affected negatively by this, the bad doors, remain open forever in those situations. And apparently, the order, different doors are bugged depending on the order that they were opened or closed. Like, our leading theory is that there's a problem with the door finder or something. So like it doesn't find them all correctly, or it can only find certain ones or some. I don't know. It's really weird, really strange. I've never heard of shit like that. In somewhat related news, I'm going to try to grab a. I'm going to try to select another weapon ID for the salamander to see if I can use that instead of weapon ID 17. Acheron agent. I can definitely use these because I'm not using the traps. I've replaced them. They have been replaced. So here we'll take 17, copy it with 96, paste, and then we'll set it to 96 in here. And then we'll go into config, salamander, weapon flingy, 96, 279. Because I know that the Phobos laser and missile are working. I just showed that off earlier. So we know that stuff is good. You know, we know that stuff is fine. But for whatever reason, the salamander shit is not working. So well, they appear to have a different. That's really weird. What the fuck is that? Oh, I gave them. Oh yeah, I gave them a different flingy as a test, so it should be. Whatever salamander missile is 272. No, for some reason it just doesn't show up, dude. Why? There's nothing functionally different here. In terms of like a flag or anything. And it works with other flingies that are set up differently. So what the fuck? Oh my god. Well, that time the spread ID was wrong, but seriously. No, I'm not using that. I'm just trying to figure out why it's not showing up. Because the Phobos stuff is showing up, so why wouldn't the salamander stuff show up? All that's different is the fucking... I don't get it, man. No, I just removed. I moved it to 96 twin autocannons. I moved it to a completely different weapon ID. Is it something to do with the Magellan? Maybe it's the unit ID? Oh, that's going to be a real joy to look for. I don't even remember. I don't remember how to look for something, comparing it to 16 or something. Can you check to see if there's hard code for unit ID 22, which is 16 in hex? That's really the only thing I can think of at this point. Really absurd shit. Oh, Wikidot. Don't actually remember. So we're talking 224. That's 7 range. That might be a little high. So I think we'll say 6 range. I don't think I'm using unit ID 29 for anything. Oh, I'm slated to use it for the artisan. Ay, ay, ay. Okay. Jesus Christ. Okay, now that I'm in the right fucking space of mind here. This is the Centaur. This is 28. Okay. This is going to be the Mason. Or the Artisan. I think it's a Protoss unit, actually. Set it to Protoss. Okay. Anyway, back to business. Just needed to do that. Yeah, I tested shamans earlier. They appear to be working out pretty well. Thank you for that. I'm going to look for where that code is so that I can add the read that DF made a while ago. Because I'm pretty sure that's done. Oh, maybe not. Was it magic? Oh, it was. Cool. Here it is. I don't remember if I actually set up... I think maybe I have the graphic in here, but I don't think I initialized it in images TBL. Yeah, Nanite field overlay is in here. So let's check. I do have Nanite field overlay here as 996. So graphic does not turn. Drive click short. It's not clickable. I don't know if I use full iScript. I'll refer to restoration. No. And it's 5.93. Beautiful. Now for... actually take a look at restoration. Copy this in. 45. We're looking at 996. Nanite field overlay. So we go all the way up to frame 37 here. Which might be a bit much, I'm not sure. This is going to be a long animation. This is my only real worry. But now maybe it's in game hooks. Now the question is, where do you spawn the overlay on the unit? I guess it's in Shaman Proc? Can we somehow tell? Oh, organic, so. We'll say if organic else oh, I guess you set the overlay image ID to oh yeah, well I guess I can do that. It's kind of shitty, but should in theory work anyway. Pretty epic. Sham IMO. That's pretty cool. That definitely feels different. Okay, cool. So we got the new Shaman read in then. So implement new nanite field read. We'll say implement Phobos attack overlays. I still have to mess around with some other stuff, however. Field read. So let's do that. And back in weapon fire, where we all cut our teeth earlier today. This needs to go into... I guess it needs to go further up. But this feels pretty shit. I have to copy and paste this stuff in such a way. But let's see if this even fixes the problem, because I may have misunderstood what Iquare was saying. Oh, it's working now. Dude, that's scary. Now that is scary, man. Especially when you factor in the idea that this unit has an absurd amount of survivability as well. Alright, cool. That's epic. I can't remember if I decided I wanted the projectiles to deal AoE, like I think all of this is single target. Oh, that's Centaur. What am I thinking? Phobos. Oh no, yeah, the missiles there deal splash radius. That's cool. That's pretty neat. Alright. So we need to implement still some more stuff. Obviously the defensive matrix changes, the Gorgon and Cyclops passives, the revision to the Madrigal, a lot of bugs for the Savant, and obviously that passive for the Paladin. Like, there's still a lot to go, but Terrans are pretty complete at this point. Like, obviously we got to fix the Salamander as well. That's its own deal, but... Meanwhile, there is one other thing that I can do to test whether or not we have a problem with the Magellan, and that is by data rewrite, like essentially giving a different unit the weapon ID, right? So if I go to like the Ghost and I give them the 96 twin autocannons, just for the sake of testing this stuff, and then I can revert it back to 1, or rather 2, if I know how to use my brain. Okay, it is definitely something to do with the weapon, or something going on there anyway. But the thing is, like, I've tried different... Okay, so I haven't tried completely distinct combinations of everything. So what I'm going to try to do now is I'm going to take the Salamander, go back to 17, and go into config and change this back to 17 as well for the weapon rewrite. But since I've tested different flingy entries and nothing seems to be working, we'll stick with 280 because that's a new flingy entry and presumably should work fine. But we're going to change the sprite ID to a new sprite ID and see if there's any difference in that. So we'll say 585 salamander missile. We'll find the other instance of this and just straight up copy and paste it. Right? And that's all we're going to do right now. We're just going to see if that results in anything different. Because maybe it's some hard code related to a really specific sprite ID. Because that has happened before as well. Alright, this has had no change. So we'll say that maybe it has something to do with... Oh, wait, did I... No, I think the obvious case here is I actually just overwrote that, so that was pretty boneheaded of me. So again, this could mean that it's a different sprite ID issue, but we have to figure it out first. Okay, we have liftoff here, ladies and gentlemen. So this is, again, the exact same settings. The only difference is I'm using a different flingy now, but I'm also using a different sprite ID. The sprite ID of the previous salamander missile was 577, which if you go back to the salamander missile here is clearly listed as it. So it's not like I fucked up the ID or something and that's what we fixed. So obviously the issue with it not turning correctly is something that we can fix really easily. All we have to do is find the missile and just re-enable graphic turns. And then that should resolve the issue. And now we can see what's going on here. I'm not really sure why it's offset in those ways. It seems like when it's turning, maybe I need to make the attack angle stricter in weapons stat. But we actually have liftoff on that then. After new additions to Terran, Protoss units feel like a joke. I think the real loser right now, or the one that feels left out, I should say, is Zerg. Protoss do have a lot of new units, actually. They have the Vassal, the Gladius, and the Magister. And they're going to get a large number of ground units. At least, I want to say at least 3, but probably 4. I'm going to get everything from Deliverance, and then I'm going to add 1 or 2 more. And those are all ground units. There's going to be at least 1 new robotics facility unit and 3 new Templar units, and obviously the Star Sovereign and the Augur have yet to come into play. So actually, they are also getting. I mean, that's 3 aircraft that we've already added, and we've got 2 units, the Star Sovereign and the Augur, that are in some state of assembly, but they're not actually up there yet. And then we are going to also add 4 new ground units on top of that. So that's already 9 units, which is actually more than Terran's just received. Terran's just received 7. We're going to be adding 9 units for Protoss. But Zerg have not received any new units. They are slated to receive the Ultralisk morphs, but those are not yet finished, and those are only 2 units. So I don't think I have access to your repo, so I can't do that. But one of the issues that I saw was that maybe the attack angle needs to be stricter or something. I'll cut it in half and see if that helps. Because as you can see, since it's based on like the angle that the unit is at, it doesn't really seem to help. But like the offsets are not exact. I don't know what's going on there. I'm also going to slow down the missile speed a little bit. But I thought you just said that you... Oh, I see what you mean. You already had that implemented. I thought you were saying that this is a recent change that you added. And yeah, of course. There you go. That doesn't really do anything because they weren't really reaching top speed. Anyway, so... So I think either I didn't put in the splash or something is fucked up. No, I did put in the splash. So how come this isn't working properly? It should definitely be splashing at that range. At least the outer should be in. Maybe I can increase it. I definitely won't enjoy... I don't enjoy coding at all, so definitely would not do that. Would not enjoy it. But I have no idea even where to start, so... If you're not able to do it, I'll probably work with Veek on it. Oh, no, yeah, no wonder it's not actually working. Hold on. I didn't set it to splash radial. It seems like they get hit no matter what, though. Like the... Oh, never mind. I think that they'll still be pretty useful, like... Considering they're, I mean, they deal explosive damage, so... It's just really hard to control their shit for whatever reason. That bitch ruined my day. So yeah, I think I'll decrease the attack angle, or increase it rather, and then yeah, then we'll see what we want to do after the fact. But the fire field will definitely be pretty good. All right. Well, in the last hour, we got the Phobos more operational. And the Salamander now has a fucking projectile, which is epic. And yeah, that's pretty cool. We revised the Madrigal concept. The new Madrigal Behavior 1 is really big and will definitely encourage usage of them, but they are going to be... I did make them more expensive and by 25 gas. And I've also, they are weaker than tanks in terms of health and armor and stuff, so... Well, yeah, Madcaps don't really have a lot of micro potential individually. Like, they do. They do fare better than Marines. They just don't have stim, obviously, but they fare better than Marines as far as, like, a standard fare upgraded unit goes. There might be some sort of grace period that I add in. Like, there's a lot of balancing levers that I can pull to try to attenuate some of their weaknesses, like making it so that the unit actually removes... like its cooldown sort of winds down, sort of like a minigun winding down as they move. So as soon as they move, their cooldown starts to drop until they refresh it by attacking again. So it's more like a wind up thing, as opposed to something that they just in a binary way they just lose everything. So it's just like a really fast decay rate on their attack speed increase would probably be would probably end up being useful. So that's one way that we can, like, that's one lever that I can pull to improve them. But when it comes to looking at the when it comes to how the unit is set up, it's meant to be this like heavy fire support unit that you almost want to put in the rear, like or like you want other units in front of it that can micro and take hits and pull back and go back and forth and kite backwards like fire bats, like actual Marines as well, like regular Marines. You want the Madcaps in the background dishing out damage without being touched. They are your backline. They are your heavy hitters, and that is what I think is interesting about that unit, because there's nothing really like that, and it doesn't force you to play that way either. The like while being stationary or whatever, there's nobody that looks at that like nobody should look at that and say, like, I absolutely need to use this unit in exactly the way to maximize its passive, because it still will be a useful, cost-effective unit when used like a Marine, unless there's some sort of specific counter to infantry in general that picks them off before they can really get their damage off. So, yes, I am well aware. Unfortunately, I remember that particular unit. So I should actually put in the weapon damage value of this particular. I guess the fact that they only have 4 range feels pretty stupid though, so what I will do is I'll increase their range. I think that's the default range of Marines. Oh no, they have 5. Okay. Save. Wow, thanks. Yeah, that's definitely the Star Sovereign, but who knows what the actual endgame compositions will look like. Oh man, I've got to inspect element and delete so that I can. There we go. Yeah, Savants can, Azazels can. So we have a couple. So we have the Vassal, which is a really spammable drone air fighter. I think you already know about that. And it's for robotics. We've got the Gladius, which has that infinite weapon bounce. And we have the Magister, which has the +2 range attack thing. I guess I should mark the Gladius as implemented besides its passive, though. So those were the most recent additions. Did you? I'm glad, because I only barely updated that, but I haven't actually seen them in action. Yeah, I honestly I lose almost every single fucking game that I play. Is there something specific to like, is like Vassal spamming overpowered or something? I'm not sure. Let's take a look. I don't think I have any robo-focused Protoss. Maybe this one is, actually. Executed. Where the vultures at, homie? I have zealots next to your ally. The Zerg have gotten really good. Like, they're not impenetrable, but they are way better than they used to be. I've noticed that much. So, hi. Wow, from bad to worse for this guy, see a nerd. Should have built some Cyclops, dude. Holy Legionnaire. That's the other thing. The AI is really good at spamming Legionnaires. He's got his Vicarage. It's over. Is there Barodans? I haven't seen any. So that's good. They seem much more reasonable. Although some units are getting stuck, it looks like. Hey, we have some vassals. Check them out. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. I need like a really, really like short short effect. Something that's even shorter than the current one would be nice. Holy Legionnaire. See you, nerd. Hey, if they build enough vassals immediately, they might be able to turn back the tides. Well, stasis cells are no longer in use because I used the unit ID, but I'll probably be using crash battlecruisers as well, so it doesn't matter. Ah, HYDRA. Dude, where are the upgrades at, homies? I saw the Protoss have tier 1. Oh, I know why the upgrades aren't working out right now. At least I know why the engineering base stuff isn't working out, because, spoiler, they don't come from the engineering bay, they come from the armory. Although, oh no, I don't even think I made that change yet. So yeah, he is getting upgrades just very slowly. Dude, look at this man. Dude, he went for like fast factories and then he just built a bunch of barracks and starports. Very versatile dude. Real all-rounder. Look at him putting mines down and expansions. Dude, this guy's smart, okay? I don't want to hear it. This guy's very intelligent. He knows what's going on, okay? No, that doesn't make any sense. We shouldn't have upgrades is the thing. They just shouldn't exist. Oof. Athra cores. Although I've moved it in the right direction, I think, with the everybody benefits from the same upgrades, and look at all these hydras, dude. What a good boy he is, building so many hydras. Who's a good doggy? Now you just need a bunch of basilisks. It's man time. I love when I see like man spam. We could do a sprawl, and then that would spawn at the location and not follow. So yeah, we could do that before the teleportation. I think that's what we're missing as well, DF. I think something like an overlay that clearly illustrates start point and end point is really good, or a good idea. It's just that it can't be too noisy. It has to go away in like 5 or 6 frames or something, because the longer it is, considering how spammable Legionnaires are, the more likely it is to get really messy. So that's where like the current one is like 9 or 10 or 15 or something. I don't actually know how many frames it is. I don't remember. But I know it's not too much, but I know it's enough that it's like destabilizing in a way. So, all right, that's not it. Oh no, it actually is only 6 frames, it looks like. I'm wondering if maybe the iScript is a little different though. It looks like, wait. No, I use some other iScript than this. Okay. Yeah, if you want to do something like that, that would be awesome, man. I feel like that would definitely work out some much better. Anything that's more translucent without being like so translucent or so faded that it is no longer visible. Obviously, like there's a extreme you don't want to go towards. But if we can get more on the transparent side of things, it would definitely resolve a few issues. That's awesome. Yeah, 3 of course. What else would it be? All right, so I'm going to take a BRB, and Terrans will have units for each tier instead of upgrades. Zerg will have morphs. Protoss will have units instead of upgrades, but they'll also have conduits where multiple units merge into one. So it'll be like, instead of Zerg morphing, like what I'll probably do for augurs is have like multiple archons morphing into it or something. Or maybe it'll be like a very specific interaction. I don't know. But the new engine will have something more like that. So there will be different ways to level up your stuff. But for the most, like that'll be one side branch or whatever is like a continuation of the Templar branch. There's not going to be like air units or robotic units that merge together. I guess there could be, like it could be something where they join into a construction, like the 2 robotic units start constructing and turning into some fucking transformer or something. But I would rather save that for like that kind of mechanic for its own race or something. But yeah, I'm not sure. I think for the most part, Protoss will just have, they'll have some conduit stuff, but they'll also have, for the most part, they'll just have higher tier units, and some of those higher tier units will be conduits for a higher tier martyr, like an Archon or an Augur. Like Archon is lower tier than Augur. Augur is probably maybe not the highest tier in the new engine. Dark Archon might be the lowest actually. So really, it depends on what we end up doing with that. And obviously, like since we're not going to be making, like we're not making Starcraft, obviously, so we're going to have to like revise a lot of shit in terms of names and whatnot. But for now, we can just do whatever we feel like doing. I think. Since we're not selling it for money or anything until the game actually comes out and is featuring entirely original content and names and lore and stuff, there won't be any worry of copyright infringement. So we can pretty much just do whatever. Not like people are, not like Blizzard higher ups are watching this space for the moment where we start taking assets from StarCraft and putting them into our game. So I'm not really worried about that. Anyway, like I said, I'm BRBing. When I return, I will be targeting those upgrade changes and the Terran tech tree stuff on a organizational level, where the buildings are placed and the command cards and all that shit, and reinstating armories, getting them back into the AI script, that sort of stuff, so that we have a rebalanced upgrade economy in terms of the stats that are required, dedicated upgrade structure similar to the other races for Terrans, as opposed to it being for one or the other or whatever. And that will be a tier 1 structure, but I'll probably stick it in advanced just because I don't have that much space. So advanced structures will look like armory, engineering bay, science facility, quantum institute, nanite assembly, treasury, So those will be like the 6 structures that I have confirmed for it right now. Eventually, ion cannon will be there, and then we'll have barracks, factory, starport, bunker, missile turret, command center, supply depot, refinery. That'll be in the basic ones. So that's the plan. We'll enact those changes when I return. Ay, yay, yay. Okay. Bing, bing. Oh, actually, I'm not sure if I'm even... Oh, yeah, I am correctly signed in. I was gonna say, that seems a little weird. All right. Oh yeah, I actually completely forgot about how I made that plan. I'm not sure if... I think I would have to reinstall it. Because it was installed on my other drive, and I don't think I ever reinstalled it. But let me see if I can still run it anyway. I don't remember which company made it. Fuck. Autodesk. Well, I can't find it at all. What the fuck? So yeah, maybe I may have deleted it. I remember I went through and I deleted a bunch of shit. Well, ain't that just a and due to unforeseen, like, due to strange circumstances, I don't think I can reinstall it unless my internet connection is disabled. So that is pretty unfortunate. I should have reinstalled it this morning or something, but I forgot about it. So I'll tell you what, I'll get everything set up after the stream and get it installed and get it running. And then tomorrow, tomorrow I am working. I'm going to be streaming early because I'm working, so I'm not sure if you'll be on. But tomorrow, if we're both on at the same time, you can 3 me. That kind of throws some shit off. Shamrock. Can you believe this shit? Get out of here. Okay, I'll probably be streaming from 9 to 1. I might be done by 12, but yeah, we'll see. Yeah, if you want to write something up. All right. So. Okay, we're good there. Bing, bing. Let's get some music on. I appreciate you spending the time to help a homie out. Ow. Oh no, never mind. Everything's good. Okay. Sorry, I'm just getting some shit set up on the other monitor. Trying to organize some shizer. Oh wait, this doesn't matter. So we got C, S, R, B, F. This will be A, and T, F. Well, bunker can't be F. I guess it'll have to be E or something. And then the other one I had to change was starport to A. And then we'll have, yeah, everything should be good from there. Now over here we got VE, VA, VB, VC, VT, VQ. I was thinking of having nanite assembly be T, but not that big of a deal now. Okay. So that should resolve the organizational side of things. Should be good. And beyond that, I'm not really sure if there's anything else major that needed to happen. Rebalance the upgrades, rebalance the armory a little bit. I think in upgrades, yeah, we're going to have to change this to this. And the same for infantry weapons. And then for the on the units side of thing, I have to find future station and change it to armory. And then we'll save that. Still not sure if the future station should require a science facility or if it should require engineering bay. I think I'll set it to engineering bay for now just because. And then in like unit stat or something, I can have it be more expensive maybe? I don't know. Okay. It looks like I always planned for it to be 100, 100, but it was 150 for a while. So I'm writing down the patch notes and stuff for some of the things that are coming in the next patch. Okay, I think I got everything for Terrans thus far. Okay, armory. I mean, there's been so many small tweaks here and there that I'm not sure if this is entirely. Oh, well, the big one is like the shaman ability. So I can add that. Okay. Think we're good. I haven't written in the Gorgon or the Salamander yet, even though technically they're buildable. Because if they are not actually finished, or the Cyclops, if their passives are not implemented, if everything's not done for them by the time that I'm ready to get the patch out, which I'm not sure if that should be like tomorrow, I think tomorrow or Saturday. If I'm not ready by then with those units, I'll just be removing the buttons and like basically disabling them for now, as far as units go. And that's just how it'll be because not much of a point otherwise. Okay. Did I actually implement that Valkyrie change? Oh, I did. Okay. Sorry about that. It just reminded me to release a video that I already released. Okay. I think we're good here. So now that that's out of the way, I do have to update the add-on position of the graphic here. And yeah, it's like missile changes that I did. I don't remember what I was editing in stat.txt. Maybe some requirement strings. Oh yeah, I guess I should note the button set changes. That makes sense. Dude, why are websites so terrible, man? I don't get it. Okay. Trying to think if there's anything that I missed about the Protoss stuff. I guess it would just be the fact that I'm adding some new units. But oh, I guess like the vassal, yeah. I should actually make sure though that the vassal is even listed as robotic. It's 88. I just have to hope that that ends up being reasonable, I guess. I'm surprised I closed PyDat. I didn't think I did. Yeah, it was not listed as robotic. So what are the robotic units? We got Artanis Scout, which is Vassal, and then we have Shuttle, and then we have Probe, and then we have Reaver, and then we have Observer, and then presumably we have a Simulacrum, which is 89. Oh, we didn't even have that. Okay, it's a good thing that I double-checked all those. I mean, obviously the default units in theory wouldn't have been fucked with, but... How embarrassing. Alright, so that works out. Simulacrums might end up dealing normal damage or something in the future, I'm not sure. Because they do feel pretty weak, but I guess you are supposed to spam them, so that individual test doesn't really make sense. I wanted to make sure that the robotic flag was working correctly. So we'll say... fix simulacrum, robotic, mechanical flags. I think that was it, really, right? So. Let me take another look at some of the Protoss stuff real quick. So I'm not really sure what else is left to do. I thought that the updates to the Terran tech tree and stuff would take longer, but at this stage, it's just finding an asset that would be useful for the flame field for the salamander, and either implementing it or getting DF to do it, depending on what the situation is, in terms of like the actual asset. So then Icor can take a look at it, or Veek and I can co-op it on it at some point. But like, I think that's the main deal. It would be nice to get some projectiles for the different units that we have here. I think it's called something different now than phase beam, but whatever. I was thinking that maybe this graphic needs to be bigger or something, but I can't really justify it being, like, placement size being any bigger than it currently is. So. The Cyclops is definitely not supposed to do that. Vulture death. Oh, I guess we could do like tank death or Goliath. Hold on. Yeah. Cyclops death. I mean, Penumbra death having the rubble was intentional, but the Cyclops was not. It's just that I copy pasted from it as expected. The fuck? Oh. Well, it looks like we've managed to get some pretty good work done over here. I think that's pretty much it. I mean, not a whole lot going on at this point, so. Oh yeah. Fix Cyclops. Oh, I should actually compile that here. All right. So I think we're done for now. Not a particularly lengthy stream, but one that was densely packed with content, with progress. And ultimately, I'm feeling pretty good about that. Definitely happy that we got rid of the salamander issues, man. I guess before I go, I can start looking for some assets. See if we can find some sort of fire field, but I'm assuming it won't be anywhere in here, unfortunately. Just an idea. Like, I could use the muzzle flash shock orange, I suppose. But it would be pretty small, I feel like. Oh, actually, maybe not. Maybe that would be perfectly sized, because it is only supposed to be a certain amount, but... salamander... Yeah, it is supposed to be small. Maybe it would work. Maybe this could work. Yeah, I guess it would just loop that animation or something. Sup, Wooker? I, of course, long since slept, so... Have you been keeping up with my epic progress on the Terran tech tree? We got ships, and more ships. We got Gorgon. Right now it's nothing special. I haven't actually implemented all of its stuff yet. We got a tiny little mech over here. Cute little boy. He's got flak cannons. It's pretty cool. We got this, the Pegasus. Note that the engines are obviously fucked up for these. Its air attack can splash to ground targets, but not vice versa. So that's pretty cool. I got to do an overlay for that. I guess I can do that now too. And then we got the Salamander, which has a bit of like a line attack in a way where it fires 3 projectiles and they all smash in the same area. Like in that case, it wasn't really a line as much, but works out a bit better depending on the offset. Seems to have the biggest difficulty with like add-ons. I have not implemented it yet, but there will be a fire field when those projectiles hit, which is going to be pretty big. Right now it's 5 seconds, which is a lot considering the unit's attack speed. So I'll probably change that up. And then we got the Phobos. He's the boss man. He's got some lasers. But in close range, he's also got missiles. And then once he hits full energy, he rapidly degenerates energy and significantly increases attack speed. So basically a DPS monster. You'll also notice that he's actually gaining energy when he attacks. It's each projectile he fires gives him 5 energy. So you're actually rewarded for getting closer to units since you launch 6 projectiles from the missiles and 4 from the whatever it's called, the lasers. So and it is technically possible to do this by attacking your own units, as you're seeing here, because that's what I'm doing. But why would you want to do that when this thing deals that much DPS? It's just not feasible with this engine is all. But yeah, in theory, I would want like individual turrets and shit that shoot the missiles. Especially with like the bigger ships, like this is a vessel that would really benefit from being able to fire on the move, I think. So something like that, yeah. And then we got this giant motherfucker. Cock robot. There's obviously got to be a muzzle flash at some point that I'll put on there. And its shadow is kind of fucked up. But it has an epic mechanic. Just says, fuck your units. Notably, they can walk around it, right? But if it starts stepping on them, they're dead. Bye. So that's your epic man. It's only small units. So it doesn't work for like siege tanks. I'll probably change it to just deal damage, but like crushing damage or whatever. Maybe it'll deal concussive, so it disproportionately affects small units. Yeah, something like that. Wow, we're really mind melding over here. But it can be pretty devastating if, like, you know, obviously, because it just executes zealots. Destroyed. So it should probably have to be facing them or something when it's doing it as one. That way it's like if you're retreating, you're not killing any unit that's running up. So, like, obviously it's pretty busted right now since it's just, like, hard countering small units, but that was the first implementation. I think I'll actually put in that revision right now since I like it better. While moving towards any unit deals... I'm not sure how to do it. Maybe it should be like 20 damage per second, or maybe it should be higher. Maybe it should be like 40 concussive damage so it one-hit Zerglings or something. I don't know. But the other thing is that you can't really make it so that it's only when it's moving towards units, because yeah, exactly. Just 35. It's like what exactly that. But I'm thinking like, I mean, for one, armor is going to reduce that, right? So I'm not sure if that makes sense, but I don't know, I'm trying to think about it. Like Brood War pathfinding means that the unit will try to walk around. So it's going to have to be like a 180-degree cone or something, and that might also introduce more issues. So I'm not sure if that would really work out. So I mean, we can try it. Deals. I guess I'll just say 35 concussive. Well, like the thing is, if it's well, I assume you mean 180. 360 is the whole circle, because that's what it is right now. It's as long as it's colliding with. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure what it would look like. That does not really surprise me, I guess. Well, all he did was he made it so that even when they die, they still deal damage. They it wasn't really as much of like maybe it was partially inspired, but I don't know, man. I don't get that idea at all. Surely there's ways. I think the Death March passive for infested Terrans and Hydra is like way more interesting as well. It increases their movement speed based on what their health is. So the lower their health goes, the more they like the faster they move. You know, it caps at a certain amount, but and obviously they cast ensnare when they die or explode. So anything that survives gets gooped, and anything near them gets gooped. But that's like a positional element, you know. And like the idea behind that whole ordeal is we look at that and we say, okay, this unit will ensnare my units if it dies. So like if I see a guy who's rolling around with infested Terrans in the middle of his army, I can specifically kill the infested Terrans and turn that against him, right? But the more damage I do without killing the unit, the faster it gets, the more likely it will hit some target of mine and thus do damage, right? So like I think there's a natural gameplay there. Yeah, well, it's sort of like, I mean, I guess it's not quite the same thing, but I remember in ED there were like broodling, or maybe this wasn't even in ED, but you once floated the idea at least of broodlings that plagued you on hit, and so it's like if you don't kill the broodling, then you get plagued, and so that was a bit more of a binary operation than I would have been very happy with myself, but the idea being that like units, like if you're not able to close the gap on it, something bad happens to you. I think that's fine for the infested Terran as far as that goes. Although broodlings have their own fair share of insanity in Hydra now. So when you cast spawn broodling, first of all, you don't cast it on units anymore. You can, right? But you don't generally worry about that. When you cast it on creep, it spawns double the broodling. By default, it's 3. It goes up to 6. And broodlings spawn 2 additional broodlings for every slain enemy. So it's sort of similar, where now you've got a situation where you have, I mean, broodlings are much shorter lived now than they used to be. Their timer is much lower. But now you have a situation where you could easily get to the point where broodlings will spread through your entire mineral line or something if you don't kill them fast enough, right? Now the other thing is that there's also the parasite ability. So infects all targets within 3 range around the target, revealing their location. After 2 seconds, afflicted units spawn broodlings equal to twice their supply cost on death. So it sounds a little complicated, but if I cast it over here, there's a bit of an arming animation. And then you couldn't hear it, but there's a broodling sound effect that plays. And now you'll see that they're parasite detected. And now when it spawns, it'll spawn 4 broodlings, but it's on creep, so... Oh no, it only spawned 2. I guess it might be bugged right now. It's supposed to be twice their supply cost. But the idea is that, like, I think for a Zergling that's parasited... Oh no, never mind. That is right, because Hydralisks are 1 supply, so I don't know why I was thinking about that. But Zerglings are only half a supply, but they still spawn 1. So you can throw them at weak units, you can parasite your enemies, right? But the idea is that you have that 2-second window to kill the unit before it spawns, like counterplay-wise. You can just kill that unit or sacrifice that unit or whatever the case may be before the broodlings happen, before they arm and actually spawn the broodlings. Or, you know, something like that, right? Obviously, if I cast it on broodlings, nothing happens because broodlings don't cost any... Oh, I guess they spawn 1. Which I guess is fine, whatever. I was going to say they probably don't spawn anything. But like, there's a bit of an arming period there. The whole idea is that there's a time window of counterplay, you know, and it's a projectile too. So like, there's some precision there, even though it's a very fast projectile. You might cast it, given its AOE, you might cast it on the ground, and your units fly away from it or something. So I don't know. I think there's a lot there that you can explore, and unfortunately, maybe it's due to technical limitations of Remastered, of which there are many, and maybe it's something completely unrelated. But from my perspective, it just feels really lame to go a more mundane route. Yeah, in HYDRA, this hasn't happened yet, but there's Maelstrom is going to have a projectile that will be relatively slow moving and will not follow the target. So, or maybe it will. Maybe it'll follow the single target. But since it's slow moving enough, you'll be able to say, oh, it's probably aimed at this target, and then pull that target away or something. You know what I mean? So it's not point and click. So it's not really the same thing, but you have time to react if you're paying attention. But Maelstrom also does a lot of different shit in HYDRA. Like, it stuns the unit if it's organic. It slows them after the stun wears off, or immediately if it's not an organic target. And it also applies feedback to any casters that were affected by it, regardless of whether or not they were organic. So there's a lot more packed into that one ability, because otherwise the main ability they have is mind control, obviously. So. Personally, I'm just looking forward to getting this thing done. Is it this major patch that we're working on right now? But I'm also looking forward to lunch. So. You know what that means. It means I'm out of here. Thanks for talking shit about Necron with me. Thanks for talking shit, Chalks. Wuckerman 5000. If you're going to be around Saturday, we'll be trying once again to organize some sort of game night. And there's actually a new weird map that I just saw that we can play around with, that I have no experience with, but in addition to the other weird map. So hell yeah, man. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing some shit, man. I'm really looking forward to this new engine. Once we get to the point where we can actually make content in it, it's going to be so much better than this. So, all right, will do. So catch you guys tomorrow for another mod stream. Catch you guys later on for Fraud Night, and of course more mod streams after tomorrow. Stay tuned for that. Bye bye.